So how do we water that fertile ground? Because I firmly believe that it exists, and I see people from the left going, the left has gone bonkers, I'm moving to the center. I see people saying, I don't like this authoritarian right, I'm moving to the center. And I think there is incredible fertile ground for this. But is this a new political movement? Is this a political party? Does it have to be everything at once? Does it have to be a social movement and a political movement?
A human movement.
Yeah.
I consider myself libertarian, classic liberal, better. I have my belief, and I kind of would characterize myself as an anti-progressive, meaning you can't, the libertarians who say, no, you just got to stop everything right now. Well, you can't. It's been 100 years to get here.
Right. These are the guys that argue about driver's licenses, and it's like, come on, guys.
Stop it.
Yeah.
Stop it.
Yeah.
Yes. Can we get there someday? Yes. But we have to do it in the reverse. This is a huge building that we have to take apart without scaring everyone and without everything, the society collapsing. A lot of people are dependent on this now. Slowly dismantle and reverse, okay? Penn is, you know, an anarchist. I mean, I can't think of the word now.
I know he's a magician.
Yeah, no.
What else?
An anarchist, right? Anarchist,
is he an anarchist, really? I mean, I think of him as more of like just a pure libertarian, but there's that fine line. We're talking about Penn Jillette, by the way.
He will say, I'm an anarchist.
Okay.
You know, he's not really,
right,
but that's where his heart lives. Just, let's go. Come on, no rules. Let's go.
Right, he's a magician.
Yeah. So, and we were talking about it, and I said, you know, we disagree on a lot of stuff. And he said, no, Glenn, this is so important. No, we actually don't. You and I probably have a good 30 years of life left in us. You and I could work together and walk down the line for 30 years dismantling this stuff before we have our first argument. There's so much easy stuff that we all agree on. Mm-hmm. That's what we have to focus on. But that's not what drives money and clicks. It's these big things. Why don't we work on these first? Let's come together on some pretty basic principles.
So what are some of those things that we could slowly untie? So if you want the government to actually be smaller, if you want people to have more individual liberty, a little more money in their pocket, a little more control over their lives, what are the things that you can take without destroying the system? Because now I sense there's people on both sides that want the whole system to blow up, and I think for all its faults, it's a pretty damn good system.
I am convinced that if we could find a way to restate the Declaration of Independence and the Constitution, we would be in almost full agreement with people. It just seems like old language now.
Yeah.
But if I could say to you, look, there are things that you and I and everybody watching us are all going to agree on. I could wake them up in the dead of night and say, hey, should man shouldn't be picked up in the middle of the night and enslaved without charges, right? What? No. Okay? Everybody is the same, right? I mean, it's what you create afterwards, but when you're born, every baby is exactly the same, right? Yes, let me go back to sleep. That's self-evident.
Yeah.
We find certain things to be self-evident, okay? Life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. We all agree on that. Now, First Amendment. I agree that the press should be free. With that freedom comes responsibility, but that's their job, not the government's job. They must try to be responsible. Mm-hmm. Freedom of speech, freedom of assembly, freedom to defend yourself. This one would be a little harder because there are a lot of people who are against guns, but if you state it this way, where do laws come from? If somebody says the government, then we have to have another remedial conversation. Who gives the government power? Mm-hmm. And if I don't have the right, would it be right if I moved into a neighborhood and somebody down the street was doing all these, just making tons of money, and I got all the neighbors to get together and I said, you know what? He's got too much. I love his car. Don't you guys love his car? Yes. Shouldn't we have a bit of his car? Be able to take his car one day a week? He can have it one day a week.
Yeah.
I appoint you, I'm going to give you this badge. You go over and tell him. Why is that wrong? Because the people in the neighborhood don't have the right themselves to take it. You can't appoint somebody and give them a badge and say, oh, you now go take it. You can't do that because he has the right to his stuff, his property, his happiness. When it comes to guns, no one, if I told you a story that this guy, and he's a really nice guy, he's wonderful, everybody loved him. He's Robin Williams, okay? A guy, no one can say anything bad about Robin Williams, right? And I tell you the story that Robin Williams went into the woods and he was tracking baby bears, and he went into a cave and he saw this cute little baby bear, and mom was sleeping over the side, and he picked up that baby bear, and here's Robin Williams just hugging and saying sweet things to this baby bear. Then mom got up and killed Robin Williams. Would we say, that damn bear? Or would we say, what the hell is wrong with Robin Williams? Right?
Right.
Natural right to protect yourself. If we can just have a conversation about government shouldn't spy. Should the government spy on people? No.
Yeah.
Those things we can connect on. That's what makes us American. That's what makes us great, is that we have natural rights, and I have no right to take that from you. I have no right to tell you how to live your life, how to conduct your life, what to believe in, what not to believe in. No right. No church can tell you that. No atheist can tell a church that. You have no right. Let's leave each other alone, not steal each other's stuff, and be good to one another.
I think I finally understand what you were drawing on the board now. 10 years later, I think I got it. So what would you say then to the people who would say, but they could say, okay, I hear you. I got liberty, I got individualism, I get that. But the way the system is now, the people at the top just keep getting more and the people at the bottom keep getting screwed. How do you reconcile that with real liberty?
Okay, so here's the problem that I have had for the longest time. And it took somebody from the Ayn Rand Center to, which I disagree with Ayn Rand on selfishness, okay? Me personally.
Yeah, I've had several of them on.
Yeah. So, and I've said, okay, help me out, because the progressive movement started with, there are some people, the robber barons, that strangely, how come all of our libraries and art museums are named after these robber barons?
Right.
These robber barons.
The Koch brothers fund the Lincoln Center. Don't tell them that. Or
right, and they're against Donald Trump. So anyway,
very bizarre.
So there comes a time when people get so rich and so powerful, George Soros, and they begin to affect policy. I was with a billionaire in Texas who will remain nameless, but a name everybody knows.
Okay.
And I just moved to Texas, and he calls me up and he said, hey, I want to show you part of the community, because we were thinking about building studios. I want to show you part of Texas you need to see. So he took me up his helicopter, and he's showing me this land, and he owns, I don't know how many acres, okay? It goes on and on and on and on as far as you can see. And he said, here's the airport that I just built. And see, the corridor is coming through here, and this highway, this little dirt road, this highway is actually going to link up, and that's why I built the houses so far away, because there's an actual, 10-lane highway that's coming here. There's nothing there. And I've already laid the fiber and blah, 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 blah. And as he's telling me this, I'm thinking to myself, well, this is how the rich get richer. Because he's gone to the government of Texas and said, look, where are you going to build the highways? And if I made a case to you that you should build it here, build your highway here, because I'm going to provide all this infrastructure. And so a deal's made, whether it's a clean out in the open deal or behind the door deal.
Or just through lobbyists. Just that I'm paying lobbyists to convince you.
Correct. Yeah. Somehow or another, that deal's being made. So they affect our lives. There is no freedom when somebody's up at the top going, hey, we're going to do this. So how do you solve that? The only way to solve that, because that's the real problem, when somebody else is starting to graft the government, is to dismantle the size of the government and to bar any influence from them. They can contribute all they want, but if there's a quid pro quo at all, over. Jail time should be the worst crime.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
So is that the irony of Trump? That Trump now, because this is so over the top, I now see progressives for the first time arguing for states' rights. He's only been in office for a week and suddenly they're going, whoa, 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 the president has this much power? We better get some power back to the states. This is a beautiful thing. And this goes to where we started also about how everyone's picking a team, but you can't pick a team, you have to pick a principle. Because otherwise you're just going to be arguing the complete reverse of what you argued 6 months ago. So in a weird way, could Trump end up smashing some of the stuff that you hate on the left just by doing stuff that you don't want him to, authoritarian stuff you don't want him to do from the right?
Only for the intellectually honest. The progressives exist, and I wrote a book called Liars, and Trump is on the cover. And so is Hillary Clinton. And so is Woodrow Wilson and Theodore Roosevelt. It's a book about progressives. It doesn't matter what side they're on. This is their view, and historically, here's how they get it. So there is a difference. So many people call themselves progressives, and they're not like the actual progressives who know what that system is, okay? A progressive into what was called in the 1940s after Roosevelt by Stuart Chase, System X, because communism had been discredited and so had fascism. But they knew they wanted to have big government, so it's System X, all right? Those people are dangerous. But the people who are like, I really care about the planet, so do I.
Yeah.
I really care about children and education, so do I. I care that the rich don't have a double standard. Believe me, so do I. That everybody has access, not equal outcome, but access. So do I. If those people come together, if that is indeed the center of this country, we're going to, coupled with Silicon Valley and what's happening now with technology, we're going to be the source of freedom for more people than the history of the world combined. More people will be free because of the true American idea. Coupled with this technology, world changes forever in great ways. If we fail, the world goes into profound darkness, like I can't even imagine.
Yeah, that's, you scared the hell out of me before, then you bet it was positive, and then you gave me a little,
Right.
a little caveat at the end.
Should have reversed that.
All right. Well, we only have like 4 minutes left because you have a hard out here, but I suspect we're going to do this again one way or another.
Love to.
Give me just one, to just wrap this whole thing up. Can you think of one person in your life that you really took from ideas that were rotting them, that you got to some clarity, and someone that you just couldn't get? Do you have two examples of that?
What do you mean, rotting them?
You know, of the ideas of progressivism or all of this stuff, all of these ideas that you were so against. Is there anyone that you really brought around that you felt, this is how you do it? Because that's what people ask me all the time. How do you take someone, if they're so entrenched in these ideas, how do you actually get them out of it? And is there someone that you ever just completely missed, that you just, that you're fighting with now that you just can't get?
No, I never saw it that way. Maybe perhaps that's why I was so ineffective on it. I never saw it that way. I will tell you that now I'm having tremendous success, but it's not me. It's a two-way street. And the secret is, I think, and I hate to say this because it sounds like the opposite of it, but humility. And what I mean by that is a willingness to say, yep, you got me. I was wrong on that. Really wrong. And I felt bad. Yeah. And here's my change, and here's why. And if you believe me, great. If you don't, then you shouldn't trust me.
Well, let me pause you there for a sec, because sometimes I see you do that on television. I even saw you do it a little bit with Tucker just a couple of weeks ago. And when I've seen it, there's almost like a knee-jerk response going, wow, no one does that. No one does that. Why? I mean, I do it here, but no one on television, because everyone on television pretends they know everything all the time.
Right.
And that's dangerous.
That's really dangerous.
Yeah.
And that's why I say humble, because you have to be humble enough to say, I don't know. I don't know. And I don't. If I had the answers, boy, I guess I would be running for something, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, but I don't.
It's funny, Bill Maher says it, and he's far more left than you are. So that goes to show about what you were talking about before, that there is that middle
We don't
ground.
know. Yeah. I'm doing the best I can. So if you take that attitude and say, I'm coming unarmed, and I'm not trying to change your opinion, I just want to understand. Help me. Help me. I have found, I mean, you're doing the same thing. You're like, okay, I'm finding myself in a weird place. I don't know how I got here exactly. I don't know where this is going exactly, but how can we connect? You're going to find that people are starting to connect. And it comes from, this came to me when I was sitting in church, and this is one of the things that I don't like about, I'll just take on my faith. Yeah. I don't like, and they don't mean it this way, but it almost seems like our goal is to get people into the club. I gotta get you baptized. I gotta get you into the waters of repentance. And then you're a member and we're together and then we'll go find other people. What? What is that? No. That's not what they mean. But that's the way it comes off. And sometimes people will say, you know, I was kind of like your question. How do we get people in? How do we change their minds? Well, got to be their friend, so be their friend. That bothers me so much. How about we're just honest? How about I really find things that I like about you, if I can. And if I don't, I'm not your friend. And if I find things that I like about you, I'm your friend. And maybe someday you'll go, this is really a good guy. He's not the guy I thought he was. Dude, tell me, what's up with this?
Yeah.
How about we just genuinely try to like each other without an agenda? I don't want to change your mind. Maybe we'll end up learning something on both sides.
That's how you finish an interview. I did not look down once, which is what I always say is the mark of a good interview. And of course, you guys know this already, but you can find more of Glenn at glennbeck.com.